Throughout human history, civilizations have risen and fallen in isolation. Oceans, deserts, mountains, and vast stretches of wilderness separated entire populations for thousands of years. At least that is what we have long believed. Yet scattered across the ancient world, archaeologists continue to discover symbols that seem strangely familiar. Symbols carved into stone in one corner of the world appear again thousands of miles away among people who supposedly never met. Spirals, sun wheels, serpents, handprints, geometric patterns, sacred circles. Most of these discoveries have simple explanations. Human beings often think alike. Similar environments can produce similar ideas, but some symbols raise uncomfortable questions. Why do certain designs appear repeatedly across continents and across centuries? Why do cultures separated by oceans preserve nearly identical imagery? And why do some of these symbols emerge long before known trade routes connected distant civilizations? Tonight, we explore some of the most intriguing symbol mysteries found across the ancient world and ask whether these similarities are coincidence, shared human psychology, forgotten contact, or something else entirely. One of the oldest and most widespread symbols ever discovered is the spiral. Spiral carvings appear throughout Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Some date back thousands of years before recorded history. Among the most famous examples are the spirals carved into the stones of Newgrange. Constructed around 3200 BCE, Newgrange is older than Stonehenge and older than many Egyptian pyramids. Massive stones at its entrance bear intricate triple spirals that continue to puzzle researchers today. Yet remarkably similar spiral imagery appears in ancient Native American rock art, in prehistoric Malta, and in petroglyphs scattered across Scandinavia. The spiral is often associated with movement, cycles, life, death, seasons, and celestial motion. It is a shape found naturally in shells, hurricanes, galaxies, and plants. This may explain its popularity. Yet the persistence of nearly identical spiral designs across distant cultures continues to fascinate archaeologists because the symbol appears again and again as though humanity repeatedly arrived at the same visual language. Another symbol found across numerous civilizations is the sun wheel. A circle divided by lines or crossed by spokes appears in ancient Europe, Asia, and parts of North America. Many ancient peoples worshiped the sun as a life-giving force. This alone could explain why solar imagery became widespread. But some examples show surprising similarities. Bronze Age artifacts found throughout Northern Europe display wheel-like solar symbols. Similar designs appear in ancient Indian religious traditions and later emerge within various Eurasian cultures. The wheel often represented order, cycles of time, seasons, and the movement of heavenly bodies. What makes this symbol particularly interesting is not merely its appearance, but its persistence. Civilizations changed, languages vanished, kingdoms collapsed. Yet versions of the sun wheel continued appearing generation after generation. It became one of humanity's most enduring visual ideas. Few symbols are as universal as the serpent. Ancient Egypt revered powerful snake deities. Mesoamerican civilizations honored feathered serpents such as Quetzalcoatl. In China, dragon-like creatures became symbols of power and cosmic balance. Throughout Europe, serpent legends appear in countless traditions. At first glance, this may seem unsurprising. Snakes exist nearly everywhere. Yet researchers have long noted how often serpents become associated with wisdom, creation, transformation, hidden knowledge, or access to the divine. In some cultures, the serpent guards sacred places. In others, it carries humanity's oldest knowledge. Elsewhere, it represents rebirth through the shedding of skin. The recurring symbolism suggests that humans repeatedly assigned similar meanings to the same creature regardless of geography. Whether driven by instinctive fear, respect, or observation, the serpent became one of the most powerful shared symbols in human history. Few symbols are as universal as the serpent. Ancient Egypt revered powerful snake deities. Mesoamerican civilizations honored feathered serpents such as Quetzalcoatl. In China, dragon-like creatures became symbols of power and cosmic balance. Throughout Europe, serpent legends appear in countless traditions. At first glance, this may seem unsurprising. Snakes exist nearly everywhere. Yet researchers have long noted how often serpents become associated with wisdom, creation, transformation, hidden knowledge, or access to the divine. In some cultures, the serpent guards sacred places. In others, it carries humanity's oldest knowledge. Elsewhere, it represents rebirth through the shedding of skin. The recurring symbolism suggests that humans repeatedly assigned similar meanings to the same creature regardless of geography. Whether driven by instinctive fear, respect, or observation, the serpent became one of the most powerful shared symbols in human history. Ancient cultures also shared a fascination with geometry. Triangles, concentric circles, grids, meanders, and repeating patterns appear across countless archaeological sites. Some geometric symbols likely emerged from mathematics, astronomy, or practical observation. Others may have held spiritual meaning. Archaeologists studying megalithic sites frequently encounter recurring geometric motifs, whose exact purpose remains uncertain. Certain designs appear tied to solar alignments. Others seem connected to ritual spaces or ceremonial pathways. The challenge is determining whether these similarities reflect independent invention or the spread of ideas through forgotten networks of contact. Human beings naturally recognize patterns, but sometimes the patterns themselves become the mystery. When examining ancient symbols, researchers generally consider three explanations. The first is coincidence. Human minds work in similar ways. Faced with the same natural world, different societies may independently create similar symbols. The second explanation is shared experience. The sun, moon, stars, seasons, animals, and landscapes influence every civilization. Similar observations can produce similar imagery. The third possibility is cultural transmission. Ideas travel. Trade routes, migration, exploration, and contact can spread symbols across enormous distances. History contains countless examples of symbols moving from one culture to another. The challenge is determining where coincidence ends and connection begins. In many cases, we simply do not know. The ancient symbols carved into stone, painted on cave walls, and preserved in forgotten ruins are more than decorative markings. They are messages from people who lived thousands of years before us. Some may represent universal human experiences. Others may preserve fragments of knowledge that traveled farther than we realize. Perhaps these similarities reveal nothing mysterious at all, or perhaps they hint at connections between ancient peoples that history has not yet fully uncovered. Every spiral, every serpent, every handprint and sacred circle reminds us that despite vast distances and different cultures, humanity has always searched for meaning in the world around us. And sometimes, when we look closely enough, we discover that people separated by oceans and centuries may have been asking the very same questions.